There was once a man hunted by the FBI, feared by politicians, and followed by millions. But here's the twist. He didn't carry a gun. He didn't start a war. He carried a dream. They tried to stop him. They jailed him. They threatened his life every single day. But what if I told you that even he didn't believe he'd make it to 40? You think you know Martin Luther King Jr.? Think again, because this isn't just a history lesson. This is the story of how one man became a legend and how his voice still echoes today. There are moments in history when the world doesn't just change, it trembles. Not from war, not from catastrophe, but from the sound of a voice that doesn't shout, doesn't threaten, but instead dares to whisper a truth so powerful it echoes across centuries. He was not born into power. He wielded no sword, led no army, and commanded no throne. And yet, kings listened. Presidents paused. Millions moved. Who was he? A man cloaked in dignity, yet targeted by hatred. A minister of peace, yet hunted like a criminal. A dreamer, yes, but not the kind who sleeps. This man awoke a generation. You've heard the name, you've heard the dream. But behind the monument, behind the speeches, behind the legend, there is a story more human, more heroic, and more haunting than you may know. His journey begins not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, of segregation, of violence, of silence, in the hushed hush of a divided South where black voices were hushed and black lives were caged by laws pretending to be just. He was born Michael, not Martin, not yet. A preacher's son with a fire in his chest and questions in his soul. Why do some suffer while others sit in comfort? Why does the color of your skin decide the weight of your chains? And then, like lightning through stained glass, the answers came not with rage, but with resolve. Inspired by Jesus, Gandhi, and the prophets of old, he discovered a secret power that empires underestimate: nonviolence. But do not mistake his peace for passivity. No, Martin Luther King Jr. was no passive man. He was a storm in stillness, a lion in lamb's clothing. He faced fire hoses, attack dogs, handcuffs, and bombs, not with fists clenched in fury, but arms open in defiance. And still, he marched. Through Montgomery, where a tired woman named Rosa refused to move, through Birmingham, where letters from jail shook the conscience of America, through Washington, where he stood beneath Lincoln and unrolled a dream like a scroll of prophecy. But that's the part you know. Here's what you may not. Martin had doubts. He had days where hope trembled in his voice, nights where the phone rang with death threats and sleep was a distant dream. He bled, he broke, and still he rose. What kind of man keeps walking when every step may be his last? What kind of man says, "I have a dream," not knowing if he'll live to see the sunrise? A man not bound by time. A man whose voice, though silenced by a bullet in Memphis, has never stopped speaking, because Martin Luther King Jr. is not just a name in a textbook or a speech on a holiday. He is a movement carved into the marrow of this country. He is the dream still unfolding. And maybe, just maybe, he's still watching. Watching to see if we're worthy of the world he imagined, watching to see if we've forgotten that freedom is never free, that peace takes courage, that justice is not a trophy, but a torch. So today, we remember him not as a statue, not as a soundbite, but as a mystery and a message. The man who challenged giants with silence, the man who walked through fire to light the path, the man who turned a whisper into a revolution. Martin Luther King Jr., the man who dreamed in thunder.